What's up, guys? It's Metaphos here, and I'm here today with Leonel, who took down the Edison Monthly #6 here in Chicago. Quite a big event, had over 40 players. How are we feeling?
Hungry.
Fair. All right, let's get in the deck profile then.
All right, so playing Amaryllis Hero, started with the NAWCQ list from a while back and made some changes along the way. I'll get into them as we go.
Awesome.
All right, so start with 3 Titanial, 3 Amaryllis, 2 Lone Fire, 2 Dandy. These are pretty non-negotiable, so
makes sense.
don't need to go too deep into those.
Right.
Next, we've got Lord Poison and Botanical Line for additional plants. These also contribute to the hero package for Lord Poison. You could even dump Botanical Line in a pinch if you're really stuck on Earth for whatever reason. Next, we've got Millers, 2 Lila, and 1 Card Trooper. Notice there are only 2 Lightsworn monsters, no Raikou.
Wow.
It's really lean with the Lightsworn mill package. I actually had one game against David and Swiss where I charged and milled both of my Lilas and just fizzled. So it's a little high risk, high reward. I tried to make the deck as lean as possible, hit 40 cards.
Was that the only time you got punished with it, though?
Yeah, the only time.
Okay, nice.
But, yeah, so a comment on Raikou, it's not an instant mill, it's a delayed mill by a turn.
Right.
And it's also pretty poor when you don't have the initiative.
Sure.
Your opponent sets a card and you set a Raikou, it's like bait for Caius or what have you.
Right, or their own Raikou even.
Yeah, but Lila can mill instantly in the end phase and allow you to do other end phase effects like Amaryllis.
Makes sense. I like it.
Next are the heroes, Stratos and Dasher. You use Stratos as a requirement for a Gaia.
Sure.
And Dasher has little extra usefulness in the graveyard.
Yeah. You actually used that against me in our top 8 match where you were using it as a big beat stick because you would tribute a monster, make it 3100.
Yeah, no.
And it's good in an aggro type deck when it hits the field too.
Oh yeah, no, that does come up at times. And the last monster is Plague Spreader Zombie. You'll notice that there's no Necrogarden in here. I wanted to take a more aggressive approach to the deck. I cut a couple of cards that normally are played in Amaryllis lists. You'll see another one when it comes up, but Necrogarden was a cut, Debris Dragon was a cut. I really wanted to focus on spamming Titanials, and we'll get into that a little bit more as we go here. For spell cards, 3 Trade-In, 3 Miracle Fertilizer.
Oh, so yeah, this one I want to talk about a little bit. This is a little bit different. I know you said you wanted to spam Titanial more. Was this like the first thought is just you're already playing less normal summons by cutting the Gardna as well as the Raikous?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this panned out really well today?
Yeah, it worked well. It also has a benefit where you can get away with mailing 1 or 2 copies.
Right.
And not be totally cut off from Titanial access in the graveyard. Also, it can break in the opener a little bit, but also mid to late game, you can see it in multiples and get really powerful turns going.
Sweet. Makes sense.
Next, we have Triple Hidden Armory, Mark, and DDR.
Makes sense.
I really wanted to have as much access to DDR as possible. With Amaryllis, it allows you to banish plants for use later. I see some lists cutting down to 2, 1, or 0, and that's not the direction I wanted to go. When you cut down on DDRs to really low quantities, the banishments become permanent, like more permanent. Graveyard hate is better against you. So I really wanted as much access to this as possible. So I ran the max copies I could play.
Makes sense. Yeah, I feel like with your build in particular, because you're playing the heroes as well as the extra extenders, you're not as committed to your normal summons, whereas the other ones try to like balance extenders and normal summons.
Remaining spell cards, Heavy, Bullish, Charge, and Future Fusion. Future Fusion is, you're jumping through hoops for a second Foolish Burial, effectively.
Yeah.
In the openers, if you have Foolish and Lone Fire, you can dump a Dandelion like you could with Foolish, or Future Fusion and Lone Fire. And even when Dandelion is the best card to dump, you could also dump Dasher and have an Absolute Zero coming on a couple turns.
Right.
It can brick mid to late game, but I do go pretty high on discard, which we'll see in the traps. And the trap cards were 3 Raigeki Break, 2 Karmika, Mirror Force, and 1 Bottomless Trapple.
That's very high on discards.
Yeah. So for a long time I was on 3 discards, and you'd still have a high enough rate of break level 8 hands.
Right.
So I wanted as many opportunities to get cards out of my hand as possible so that the engine can start functioning.
Yeah, makes sense. That's the biggest complaint I hear about AMA is the amount of brick hands it has. So if you're facilitating that more, it makes sense to me.
And I chose triple Raigeki Break and 2 Karma Cut because I wanted to have access to hitting spell and trap cards. I wanted a permanent way of doing so.
Right.
I really had the Blackwing matchup in mind when constructing the deck. I didn't want to have to like stare down a Black Whirlwind and like Phoenix Swing it. That would be so bad. So I settled on 3 Raigeki Break, 2 Karma Cut.
Like it. And I noticed one thing here. We don't see Torrential Tribute.
Exactly. So Mirror Force and Bottomless are the 2 remaining trap cards. The reason for cutting Torrential Tribute is that Torrential Tribute doesn't really protect the board of Millers or Amaryllis, because if you flip Torrential, you're losing your board in the process.
Right.
And I think it was a comment that you made during one recent episode of your podcast, where maybe sometimes decks have to be built in a way where you have to have things go right for you anyway.
Right. No, makes sense.
So that comment came to mind, and
yeah, and if you're playing like Titanial Turbo,
exactly,
you want the Titanials to stick. Yeah.
So with taking a Titanial Turbo approach to the deck, I took a little inspiration from Dragon Turbo.
Right.
Granted, I'm not playing Reckless or anything.
Sure.
Really cutting, like trimming extra defense that people don't normally do, and just maximizing those turn 1 trade-in hands, 40 cards. Just trying to get Titanium on board as consistently, or like Miller with protection.
Right. Yeah.
As well.
I just see the way you have it built is like 1 to 2 bombs, and then utilizing the rest of your hand in any way possible, whether it's with trade-ins, discard traps, whatever it may be.
Yeah, you'll run low on cards like in the mid to late game, but you're just trying to get that 8,000 damage.
Right. Yep.
Extra deck. We've got Chimera Tech, Ab-Zero, and Gaia. Future fusion targets. For Synchro Monsters, we've got Armory Arm, Magical Android, Cataster, Dojo, Brionic, Urquizzes, Black Rose, Red Dragon, Thought Rulers, Stardust, Colossal Fighter, and Mistworm.
What was the best Synchro Monster for you today?
Would have to say Cataster and Urquizzes.
Fair.
It was useful in a mirror.
Okay.
We were kind of fighting with our own Catasters, trying to like poke at Titanials to get them off the board.
Right.
Urquizas is relevant in a Frog Hero matchup in Swiss.
Right.
I didn't go in the extra too often. I mean, Colossal came up against you in Swiss as well.
Yep.
Or top?
It was top cut actually.
Yeah. So I didn't extensively go into the extra, but there were a few times where it did come up and it was useful. Next we've got side deck in here.
All right.
I didn't stray too much from the NAWCQ side deck.
Sure.
I did make a couple of adjustments. I'll start with 2 Consecrated Light, 2 Cyber Dragon, Aaron, and DD Pro.
How did you like the Aaron?
I never got the effect off today.
Okay.
Ideally, you want it for zombies.
Okay.
That's the matchup you want the most. But
Yeah, I hear mixed reviews on it sometimes, so
Yeah.
I was just curious.
I think being a charge target, it's like it comes up enough
Yeah,
where you want it in the matchups where you would
Where it's
want it.
solid, right?
Spells 1-for-1, MST, and Lightning Vortex. 1-for-1 just for Consecrated Light. It's the only target.
Right.
I know the NAWCQ list had Cyber Valleys. They had 1 Cyber Valley main, and I thought about it, and it just felt like that's not a card you want to be normal summoning.
Right.
So that was another cut from that list.
Fair.
But, for Black Wings, I think it's Consecrated Light is powerful enough where you want to play a 1-for-1 with the only target being this.
Right. And you have other cards coming in too, like the MST and stuff, right? So.
Yeah. Then for trap cards, 2 Royal Decree,
Yep.
2 Skill Drain, a Trap Dust Shoot, and a Mind Crush.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, that skill drain was the bane of my existence. How were these all for you? I mean, these are getting more popularized in AMA as well, so.
Skill Drain was pretty great today. Decree didn't come in, mainly for Black Wings and Bayou Turbo.
Okay.
Didn't see any of those today.
How is the Dust Shoot Mind Crush combo? You ever draw those together?
I didn't side Mind Crush all day. Mind Crush
Okay.
I mainly wanted to include for Gold Sark decks.
And dragons and stuff. Yeah. Makes sense.
Dragons, Gold Sark decks. Dust Shoot, I wanted it for Dragon Turbo and the Mirror.
Right.
The Mirror has a lot of 2-card like starting combos that involve a monster. So like level 8 trade-in or Lone Fire Foolish or Miller Protection Spell or Protection Trap. And being able to disrupt one of those 2-card combos can really slow Amaryllis down and allow you to get ahead in a mirror.
Yep, makes sense to me.
I know the NAWCQ list played Ancient Forest. I'm not particularly sold on it, so I wanted extra coverage for Dragon matchups.
Right, makes sense to me. I know, I like it a lot. This side deck, I can already see like a good side deck plan for a lot of decks just from what you've shown. And then take a quick look at your prize. You got
a German ulti deck dev.
nice,
And a Pristine Protection Care package for top 4.
Oh, heck yeah. We know what's in this bad boy.
A bunch of sleeves. Oh,
Oh, there you go.
got some dice, pins.
Bunch of sleeves.
Got a dandelion pin. for
There
the
you
back.
go. Makes sense.
Let's go.
That's sick.
Yeah.
The PP. Well, hell yeah, Lionel. Dude, it is so awesome that you did well. I remember when I first met you, you were on this deck, and you've just been getting better on it, and as well as optimizing it. And, you know, if I didn't win, I'm glad it was you. So good job, man. Anything you want to say? Any shout outs before we head out?
Shout outs to Chicagoland Edison. Shout outs to Dengio's restaurant in Buffalo Grove, Illinois. That's a Yu-Gi-Oh dojo for me. And And I'll shout out to viewers like you. Thank you.
Hell yeah. Peace out.